Welcome to the Drexel interview. I'm your host, Paula Morantz-Cohn, speaking to you from the university's Picture Gallery. Today our guest is Constantine Papadakis, president of Drexel University. President Papadakis, or Tati as he's known, has transformed Drexel since he arrived here in 1995. Student enrollment has more than doubled, and the university's endowment has increased sixfold. He's been instrumental in the acquisition of a medical school and the creation of a law school. He's also expanded the campus through construction of new buildings, through alliances with other institutions, and through distance learning by way of the internet. His entrepreneurial philosophy of education has made him one of this country's most prominent and talked about university presidents. President Papadakis, Tati, welcome back to the Drexel interview.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, 3 years ago, we had an interview here, and a lot has happened since then. At that time, we had just acquired a medical school. Drexel had just acquired a medical school. It was a controversial action, and you were already thinking about a law school. And now, not only do we have a thriving medical school, but we have a law school that's about to graduate its first class. Now, what I find extraordinary about this is how rapidly these initiatives happened. Tell us the secret. How is it, in the glacially slow academic environment, that you have been able to get things done so quickly?
Well, first of all, I tell my team, because those things happen because we have a great team working together, a team of very high quality professionals that are my cabinet. And when we get together, I tell them, put on your seatbelt, because we are starting a new project. So a lot of people were asking, what are you going to do next after we took over MCP Hanneman? And I would say, we'll start a law school. So they would laugh. They would start laughing and go away, right? They thought I was joking. I was not joking. I was thinking about it. But the problem with the management team is that sometimes those big projects scare them. Mm-hmm. They are scary, right? Getting a medical school, we never ran a medical school before, actually was losing money from the bankruptcy when we took it over. Yeah. A law school. We have 5 law schools in Philadelphia already. Why do you want another law school? Well, I was thinking how to incentivize my team to get things done. So I figured out that if I make a public announcement, so I went to the Inquirer and I told one of the reporters that we are going to have a law school open September of 2006. So in the newspapers next day, Drexel University will have a law school open in September 2006. So I got a copy of the paper. I went to my team. I said, guys, we're committed now, right?
So that was your strategy. You make the statement, you make it public, and then you make it happen. Okay. Well, we have a law school, and it seems to be doing well. I thought during this interview, we would speak less about Drexel per se, although there are a couple of things about Drexel that I do want us to address, and talk more about your philosophy of education, because you have become such a model of can-do university leadership across the country, I really think, that I think it would be interesting for you to share some of your thoughts. The whole notion of partnerships, you seem to have a sense that partnerships are very important for a university. And I wonder if you talk a little bit about that and tell us, how is it that you determine whether an institution is right to partner with your university? How do you make that? How do you assess that?
Well, the partnerships are not done for the sake of partnering. Partnerships are done to execute a plan. So, for example, when we started thinking strategically that our campus in West Philadelphia is already too busy. We accommodate 17,000 students, excluding the medical school, which has its own campus elsewhere. So the strategy was, can we partner with someone so that we can use their facilities and be away from Drexel, and therefore not be bound by our downtown location. So we decided that we are going to create a partnership with Burlington County College. And we went to New Jersey. We discussed it with them. They have an extremely innovative and entrepreneurial president there. And Dr. Messina got the idea immediately. We said, okay, what we will do is we will work together. We are going to teach at Burlington, at the Burlington location. And the the Burlington County College will provide the pipeline for the students coming into a community college, doing 2 years there, and then seamlessly transferring to Drexel for another 2 years or 3 years to get their bachelor's degree. So as you can see, the partnerships are not just to have a partnership, are to execute a plan.
To get something done.
Exactly.
And get something done that fits within a larger educational plan. Okay. But there's another aspect, I guess you could call it partnership, that's somewhat different, and that's community service, giving to the community, providing services to the community. That's a kind of partnership. And there, we're giving. Of course, we're getting, too. Talk a little bit about Drexel and the community, because I think that's been a very important part of what's been going on here for the last few years.
Again, when you think of this kind of a partnership, that partnership also reflects a strategy. Back in 1997, we realized that our students were getting community service at their high schools, but not at Drexel. So they were coming in and they actually wanted community service. They wanted to get involved with the community. And we didn't have it. So at that time, if you recall, we had our strategy was to project our technology and also project our co-op, our cooperative education. And somehow we thought maybe what we should also be projecting is the city of Philadelphia as a real-life laboratory to provide the opportunity, to provide the place where our students can learn to become citizens. And so then I could go to the parents and tell them, look, send me your kids here at Drexel, because not only I'm going to prepare them to be exceptional professionals, but I'm going to prepare them to be good citizens.
Yeah.
And that's how we started University 101, the course that has now been expanded to cover service of, I think, 40,000 hours a year. The students are engaged in all kinds of work. They will help a library to set up their information systems. They will help the zoo with new arrivals of animals. They will help the teachers in the Philadelphia School District to teach science. And so they will do almost anything you can think of. And we have a very impressive computer program that links the needs of the non-for-profits and the NGOs, the non-government organizations in Philadelphia, with the interests of the students. So when those interests align, then we get them to serve.
So it's another dimension of the cooperative education, essentially.
And the technology that we have. So when you look at it from the standpoint of Drexel, this partnership became a reality because the customer wanted it, right? The student, the customer.
I want to talk to you about customer in a moment. Okay.
And number two, because it was a great addition to the preparation of a whole individual for Drexel to prepare our students to be not only professionals, but also to be sensitive to the issues that face society.
Okay. You always have a very pragmatic and entrepreneurial take on these things, which I think is interesting. And your use of the term customer, which you have been, how shall I say, heckled for here and there. Could you talk to that a bit? Tell us, you hold to that term. And I just want to ask you, as a professor here, sometimes I wonder, do you think that using the term customer for our students ever gives them a little bit of a sense that they have too much leverage when it comes to grades?
Okay. Now, I'll surprise you.
Okay.
because I have compromised on this issue.
Oh, you have? Yet you use it here on air.
You know why I have compromised? Because our students themselves, in the Triangle, in our student newspaper, came up with a better definition than mine. They said, we are customers when we deal with the administration, but we are students when we are in the classroom.
I like that. Okay.
Yes, I like that too.
Okay.
So that answers your question, right? Because what I want them to be is customers, to have the sense of dealing with an organization as if they would have been dealing with a service in the government or with a store that they go and get service. We need to make certain that we provide the students with a service that is not only of high quality, but is also seamless. In other words, you have heard me talk about the one-stop shopping. A student goes to one place and they get their problem solved, no matter what the problem is, instead of going around trying to find out where am I going to solve my problem, right? So this is the reason why I call the students customers. And I think that it reflects not so much on the students, but on the employees of the university. Not the faculty, the employees of the university.
Okay. I will accept that distinction. Yes. I think it's a good one. I want to talk about this notion of customizing education. This is also a term that you've used. I mean, we talk about customizing a car or a home. You talk about customizing education for groups of students, for individual students with special needs or wants. What does that mean, and how do you see it moving in the future? And what does that mean to customize an education?
In order to be competitive in any business, you have to be able to predict what comes down the road. You may make a mistake from time to time, but at least that forces you to think. So if you accept that you should not be doing things the way you did them 50 years ago or 100 years ago, then you start thinking, how can I deliver differently to satisfy the needs of the customer? Again, right? The needs of the customer change. And the customer, being the student, has today much different perspective in the education than they had about 10 years or 20 years ago. Think of our kids, for example, and think of grandchildren and how they see their environment today. So let me give you an example. We started observing the last 5 years, 7 years, a change in student preferences from instruction face-to-face in a classroom to a hybrid of instruction, classroom instruction, and internet instruction, online instruction, right? That led us to the decision in 2003 to start a company, Drexel eLearning, Inc. This is a for-profit company, by the way, with an investment of $4 million, which was paid back to the university. And this company is a subsidiary of Drexel. Now this company, 4 years later, right, in the 5th year of its operation, has 11,000 students. 11,000 students register, 11,000 students take courses every year from Drexel eLearning.
Now this is distance learning.
Distance learning, completely.
So this is not hybrid learning.
No, it's not. But the distance learning is available to our classroom students. If a graduate student wants to take a course online, now I have the company that provides it. So what happened is that, number one, I created a company that is very profitable and now is making about $40 million a year in revenues from distance learning. But this company now will provide me with the material, with the courses, and with the expertise to serve my